Hi, welcome to Harold Guitars, welcome back to the workshop, and welcome to the first episode of the latest guitar build, electric guitar build for Phil Short, the incredible guitar player who you may recall won the 2016 Guitar Idol competition. Tremendous player, do check him out. This guitar is going to be roughly based on the Fender Telecaster model of guitar, with a few subtle differences. It's going to have a floating tremolo system as opposed to the hardtail, which is common with the Telecaster, and a few other subtle differences. And what we're going to do is take you from raw timber to popping it in the case and intonating and setting the guitar up, and eventually Phil will come and pick it up, and I'm pleased to say that he's agreed to play it for us, which should be quite something. As I say, incredible player. Do keep an eye out for Phil. So the first thing we've got to do is make sure that we've got all our various bits and pieces. No point in starting the build really until you've got all the elements in place, until you've got all the wood and all the hardware. It's a foolhardy task to attempt to build a guitar without all those things on the bench day one to take real-time measurements from. So I'll take you through the wood selection that Phil's made, and let you have a little look at the hardware, and then yeah, we'll crack on and start building. Right, so we've got our several pieces of wood and all of our hardware for the build. First up is the actual main body blank itself, the wood that's going to create the body for the guitar. This is ash. Ash is a lovely guitar making wood, and a lovely tone wood. It's got a good mid-range punch to it from the point of view of tone, and it's also relatively light. So this is going to be a two-piece body. I've had this prepped down at the local wood yard where I get my wood from, and generally dimensioned. I've also popped this through my planer thicknesser in order to get it to the correct depth to start working with. In essence, the body depth of the Telecaster is going to be 46 millimeters. The top wood is 7 millimeters, so I've taken this down to 39 millimeters, which still gives me a little bit of room for sanding and messing about, but that's pretty much ready to go. So in essence, what we're going to do is just make sure that fits tightly and glue that one together. And then we're going to add the top wood. The top wood is a gorgeous flamed maple, book match flame maple. If you don't know, book matching quite simply is taking a piece of timber such as this and sawing it through the middle, and then when it opens up like a book, you get a mirror image of the grain pattern either side of the midline. This again will need jointing and tidying up so that when it's glued together, that line will disappear. I've also traced the outline of a standard Telecaster body on the outside again, just to give my eye some reference to work from. The fretboard is Cocobolo rosewood, which has got a wonderful kind of reddish tinge to it and some sort of orange figuration within the grain. And this one, I must confess, I've already prepared with a radius, compound radius, which runs from a 10 to a 14 inch radius. As you probably know, the fretboard of the guitar has got a radius on it. Most of them standardly have a radius which runs the full length of the fretboard, but Phil's stipulated that he wants one that's compound, so it's kind of conical radius, a tighter radius at the the low end of the frets, and as it works its way up higher, it becomes more flat, which suits his playing style of all the squiddly diddly stuff that he does so well. I will incidentally show you how to radius fretboards and how to cut the slots in on the other builds that are going to be happening simultaneously. In fact, I'm going to be filming, I believe, 3 guitars almost simultaneously, but this one I've already done because it was a task that I wanted to get out of the way, and I must confess I did it before I started the filming of this session, so that has been done already, but I will show you how to radius a fretboard and how to cut the slots in the adjacent videos that will be running simultaneously. The fretboard blank, the neck blank even, is this stunning piece of flamed maple, and all I've done to date is I've roughly drawn the neck silhouette on. I put my centre line in, centre line, centre line, centre line. That's all I'm going to start off. Today's lesson is centre line. Make sure that you put a centre line on, otherwise it will not work. And a variation of the headstock is Phil's own design, if you like. He's come up with this. It's not my standard headstock, but similarly it's also not Mr. Fender's headstock, more importantly. So Phil and I collaborated in order to come up with the generic shape which he wanted it to be. So that's the headstock shape he's going to have. Hardware wise, we've got some Spurzl, absolutely gorgeous Spurzl chrome locking machine heads. They're going to have to be fitted. We have a Shure, I'm never quite sure how to pronounce this. Shure, S-U-H-R, Shure, yeah. Shure, yeah. 60s style, standard telecaster, neck position pickup, and Pete Thorne's Thornbucker humbucker, which is going to go into the bridge end. Last time I said that I said bridge end, and it put me off my strike a little bit. And in variation to the standard telecaster hardtail concept, Phil was elected to have this beautiful Goto 2-point pivot Strat style tremolo with a push-in arm. So we've got that ready to go as well. So we start to build up an idea of what it's going to look like. And I think it's going to be quite spectacular. As I mentioned in the previous video, is actually going to be a trans white tint, hand tinted trans white. There is going to be a pick guard element to it, although it's not going to be a standard pick guard. It's probably going to be made out of a matching Coca-Cola or similar wood, and the pickups are actually going to be mounted straight into the front of the guitar, but the pick guard is going to end up being an aesthetic element, which as yet Phil and I haven't decided what we're going to do. So this is the introduction to the build. Sorry I've been prattling on. I do have a habit of prattling on. And in the comments below, please do tell me to stop prattling on if you feel that way inclined, and tell me to stop saying as well. I have noticed that I say a lot, which just demonstrates a nervous performer. I'm alright on a stage with a guitar, but put me in front of a camera and I say Oh, incidentally, the truss rod is a dual action spoke style truss rod. It's going to be 22 frets. And the access for adjustment is going to be actually through the neck. We're going to cut a little groove into the bottom of the fretboard, and you'll be able to access the truss rod from the top of the guitar, which is great for people like me that also do setups and repairs, because it saves having to take the strings off to any great extent, or take the pick guard off if you've got one of those beautiful old-fashioned Strats where they used to put a heel end adjustment underneath the pick guard, so you have to adjust the neck and effectively take the guitar apart and put it back together again to prove whether you've done it right or not. Anyway, so that's the wood selection. The first thing we're going to do then is going to be to glue the two body blanks together. So that's going to be episode 2 of the Telecaster build. Hey, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy the build. I hope you get something from it, and indeed if you do, then please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, to like the videos or dislike the videos, whatever floats your air pack. Tell your buddies, and I will see you shortly for episode 2, where we'll start making some mess and gluing stuff together and sanding stuff down and cutting things out and putting strings on things and all that stuff.